Let's talk about cover letters. To some employers, the cover letter is actually more important than the resume. I know whenever I'm hiring someone or selecting an intern, I actually open the cover letter first, and if it isn't specific and relevant to the position, I never even make it to the resume. On TV shows like Chop, they sometimes talk about somebody's dish being them on a plate. Your cover letter needs to be you on paper. It needs to tell me enough about who you are that I actually want to meet you and bring you in for an interview. You do need to write a new cover letter each and every time. Yes, you can do a save as, but be really careful that you're not leaving information about the last job or internship in that template. It happens all the time. I see a lot of letters that in the last paragraph have a different theater company's name mentioned. Keep it professional but show personality, and I'll give some examples of that later. Before you send it off, make it into a PDF. You can do that using something like Adobe Reader, a free program. The reason why that's important is if you've spent 2 hours making sure your resume and cover letter are perfect and the fonts are beautiful, unless you PDF it, it may look different to the person who you send it to. So for example, my computer here at work is about 15 years old. If you send it to me, I'm not going to have any of the fonts that you set up unless you PDF it, and that way it'll come through looking exactly the way that you intended. Just like in a resume, formatting, spelling, and grammar absolutely matter. You need to use something that is a professional letter format. You can Google block format or semi-block format. Again, there are lots of great templates available online for those. It shouldn't look like an email or a memo or just some words at the top of a paper. Please, please never link an employer to a Google document unless specifically requested. It's an extra step. I know for me it means that I have to actually sign into my Gmail, which I really would prefer not to do at work. So what goes into a cover letter? These 3 things. First, you need to tell me what aspects of the job or the internship particularly appeal to you. Get really specific about why you want to work with that organization or company, and hit the details in the job description, not just the title of the job. And then we need to know why you're qualified. Of course, this is particularly relevant for a job as opposed to an internship. And don't just say, see my resume for my unique set of qualifications. Use the cover letter to draw those connections for the employer. Finally, if you're applying to a nonprofit or other arts organization, you do need to include a little bit of info about your passion for the work that they do. Why are you drawn to their mission? Why are you drawn to the art that they make? This is important, but it should not be the bulk of your letter. I get a lot of what I call origin stories that start with something like, when I was 7 years old, I stepped onto the stage for the first time and I was bitten by the acting bug. That's a lovely story, but remember that you are applying to work in an actual workplace, and we do need to know about things like qualifications just as much as we need to know that you're going to be happy to be there and happy to be a part of the art that we're making. I coach students to identify the 3 or 4 things in the job description that seem to be most important. So for example, if they keep mentioning leadership experience and the importance of leadership to that job, that may be something that you want to pull out. Once you have those, you can actually focus a different paragraph of your cover letter on each of those things, just to really kind of hone in on, again, why you are the best one for that job. Here's some common cover letter errors. One of the biggest ones is parroting. People will see a phrase in the job description and they'll pull it out and pop it directly into their cover letter. I wrote the job description. I recognize it if you say self-starter with management experience, if that's what I put into the job description in the first place. This also goes to pulling the company's mission statement or phrases from the About Us section of our website. We get that a lot. We appreciate that you did a little bit of research, but again, we're very familiar with the way that our company describes themselves, so you at least do need to paraphrase. Ideally, what you do is show, not tell. So let's say you do want to say you're a self-starter with management experience. You can say, my current position enables me to create my own goals and programs, self-starter, supported by 2 part-time interns and a full-time associate. Management experience. Again, ground and quantify within your past work experience. This is probably the biggest error that people make with their cover letters. They don't give me enough of their personality to make me want to meet them, and they sound like a robot. Take a second to read through this cover letter. It's very difficult to tell who this person is. It's professional, it's grammatically fine, everything is correct, nothing is off. However, I don't know who this person is. It could be a million different college students, right? So this is probably not enough to get you into the room for an interview because I just can't tell enough about you to know if I want to meet you or not. Now read through this cover letter. This is still very professional, but I'm actually getting an image of the human on the other end of this letter. They use my name, which is always helpful. They're specific about what organization they're applying to and why their background makes them uniquely qualified and passionate about this job. Specificity really is key and helps us understand who you are enough that we want to get you in the room for an interview. Try to answer the question, why you? Why should you be selected for this job? Now, a lot of people find it easier to speak than to write. If that's you, find a friend to practice with. You can have them write down the things that you're saying. You can even record yourself answering that question of why you, and then try to use some of that language within your cover letter. So if you're done with your resume and your cover letter, the next step is to submit yourself for the job. Follow whatever the submission process is listed on the website. Don't make enemies by trying to go around the submission process, have your uncle slide it under somebody's door. That's really bad practice. Systems are set up for a reason, especially when it comes to hiring, and often they're set up to keep you safe. You can follow up via phone or email after you've submitted your application. It's a good idea to wait at least a couple of weeks, or if it's an internship, until the submission deadline has passed. And know that sometimes there's a lot that goes into making hiring decisions, so it may take a while for someone to get back to you. Most of the time, once you submit an application, it's a good idea to try and forget about it. It's out of your hands. You did the best that you could.